Welcome to another episode of TSW. Today, I'm very excited about this conversation because we are going to speak about women entrepreneurship. In India, we speak a lot about women entrepreneurship, but there's a lot more things which can be done and which is yet to be done. And there are so many challenges, there are so many opportunities, there are gaps, there are obstacles, but there's a lot more. And today, we have a guest whose own personal journey is so inspiring, and she is working up to help a lot of other women entrepreneurs as well. Priyanka, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Priyanka, we were speaking earlier about we were having a normal conversation the other day, and during the conversation, we came across your own personal journey. You started as an architect, and then you eventually came to in the startup space. So for people who are watching this, it will be great if you can just give a walkthrough of your personal journey because I find it very relatable because at some point we also have gone through that. We have been at that crossroad.
Sure. So my entrepreneurship journey started in 2002. I graduated as an architect, and when you graduate as an architect from an engineering college, there is always this pay gap that happens within the two streams. So very early on, we realized that architects are only two types. They will you'll either see them on a bicycle or you will see them in a BMW. So decided that if you keep working, you will only be able to afford a bicycle. It had transformed into TVS Scooty at that time for us, but realized that you will have to take a leap of faith, believe in yourself, and do something of your own. So in 2002, I started a company called Ambience Designs, which got merged with Visualize, and then we got an opportunity to be in London for 5 years, where I did my master's in design, and that's how the entire UI UX space came into being. But worked in London for 5 years and realized that job is not really my calling. So came back to India, started the company called Fractal Link in a garage like setup, and or everybody starts in a garage, and we had like a literal garage where we had to do like a shutter up, shutter down every morning. We had 7 people to begin with, and in so it started in 2010. 2016 it was acquired by the Denso Aegis network. It was the first company, design company, independent design company in India, to be acquired, and then it led to a series of acquisitions in the design space. So yeah, I mean, we came to India when the word user experience was not that prevalent, and we brought that whole concept to India. And initially, people were like, when you show them the grayscale wireframes, they would be like, "Where is the design?" And we would like, this is a process. We need to follow the process, and that's how you get to a really meaningful, well-designed user experience. So that journey happened, and we from 2016 to 2022 we helped grow Fractal Link from a 72 member team. So 2016 it was a 72 member team. We grew it to 120, a conscious decision that we don't want to scale further because the quality of design and everything suffers. So we didn't want it to be a factory, so remained a unique kind of setup. And 2022 exited and was trying to figure out what next.
Mhm.
And then Fund Partners happened, which is now currently my day job.
So, Priyanka, one of the things which I always, wanted to understand, so you took that leap of faith long ago before all these startups, though even the word, that did not even exist as a buzzword, right? And I want to understand, how much of courage one requires, to just go be on your own, right? Take that path, right? And also because I have come from a family or a very kind of thought process where you know, you have to do a job, the
Yeah.
job karna hai. And now I see the change in my own, even people around me, like, "Hey, okay, you should do something of your own." But at that time, it's in my, it's so hard to even take that leap of faith, even now, right?
Mm.
Because it's very, I find it very scary to be very honest.
Yeah.
And but for you, like, how was the process? What was the conversation? How was your reaction of your parents, for instance?
Oh.
Because हमारे यहाँ तो
Yeah, yeah,
बिल्कुल ही
totally.
उसको ऐसे कर देते हैं.
So, I mean, from the in-law side, the one thing, and my husband comes from a family of engineers, and everybody's in Infosys and TCS, and also for the longest time we kept getting forms for Infosys ki ye bhar do set ho jaoge kind of a thing. And I remember in 2002 I was earning, and I'm going to give numbers because it's like when the risk is low, you can say. I was earning 10,000 rupees, and my husband was doing his master's from IIT. So he had no income. I was earning 10,000. Our house rent was some 5,000 at that point. My parents had come to live with us, and I had got a freelance opportunity of 30,000. Ye 30,000 mein will you do this? And I was like, I'm set for 3 months, and I will figure out in between. That was the only calculation I did. And my parents were like, एक पढ़ाई कर रहा है, घर का रेंट है, खर्चा है, शादी तुम कर चुके हो, now how are you going to manage this, like what if it doesn't work out? And my only this thing is that 3 months, next 3 months, if I don't find another thing, if I don't find another freelance opportunity, I can always go back to working. There is no this thing, but at this point my risk is low. I don't have a kid. I can take this leap of faith, and so I will do it. Call it privilege, but we do come from backgrounds where parents can support if they want to, but we don't generally want their support as such. The only thing my parents did say that buy a house first, and then you do all of these shenanigans. And they helped us get a house at that point. So a little bit cushion is there, but even if it wasn't there, it would have been the same because we never look back. Like
Mhm.
once you get and you are all in, when you know that there is no plan B, you go all in.
So, but when you see the current, like, the people who are willing to do a lot more, like even for as a creator or content creators, it's like more of a solopreneur work, right? I know there are so many D2C companies now, like they all have started from very small. So how does it feel like, what do you see? Like, do you see this trend is like, and do you have some sort of a cautionary advice if you want to give to people?
So the only thing, because times are very different from the first time when I started to now, there is so much competition. There wasn't that much competition at that time because not many people were taking that. As you said, like people opted
Correct.
for jobs more than they did entrepreneurship
Correct.
at the time. So the competition was a lot lesser. But right now, for every activity people do, there are 10 other competitors standing, doing the same thing, trying to make a name in the same space. My only suggestion or advice is that if you're honest to your craft, if you know exactly what you're doing and you have a uniqueness to your perspective, there is no way you cannot succeed. It's just the way you keep at it and you keep your head down and you keep working and you keep at it and you keep doing it in cognizance with the entire ecosystem of the way it is evolving and using the tools to your best advantage. I don't think that there is because there is enough space for everyone to survive.
So when you were with, like, say, Fractal at that time, and it started small, and I'm sure, like, when everybody starts, they would imagine like it will scale to that level where
Hmm.
it will be the valuation will increase and everything. So during your initial days with Fractal, and all those times, do you think that, okay, it's not working out, just a char aata waisa response nahi? Because if I do the mathematics and the calendar, if I calendar it right, there were so many times when economy was low,
Yeah.
like, there were so many things going on in the background. There would be people. So how did you deal with that kind of, if there was some sort of a down phase, if there was?
Oh, there were multiple such down phases that came in, and it makes you question that why are we doing what we are doing in the sense. So
Mhm.
I remember our so the initial boost which we got in our Fractal days was we got when Microsoft was launching the modern UI, the Windows 8 platform, and we got on board as the preferred design partners with them, and they had our people on retainer at that point. Design business retainer was a big thing, and we had like out of the 12 people we had, Microsoft had retained 8 people in that. So we were very cushioned and everything, and this went on for 2 years. And suddenly we realized that the modern UI is not working that much, or they have onboarded enough number of clients, so they would downsize, and there was a possibility of they reducing that. And we were doing independent projects, like there were independent projects as well working, but the main cash flow and everything was coming from Microsoft. And we're like, okay, if this goes, then what? That's the this thing. And when crisis hits is when all your antennas, all your innovation, and all your bhik mangne ka capability also gets activated. And that's when we realized that, we have to go out in the market. We had never done active BD as such. That's when we took an approach that we need to reach out to people. We need to reach out to old clients, because Microsoft had introduced us to 600, 700 odd people, big companies in the country, because they wanted to onboard all of them. So we actually made cold calls at that time, saying to these companies that we had worked for your Windows 8 platforms, do you want an Android and an iOS, and subsequent things. Luckily for us, one of the clients was working with the one of the big fours. I can't name, but name the company, but starts with M. But so we became preferred design partners for them, and that scale gave us scale to the next level. So one door ended, the other one started. So yeah, I mean, so multiple times it has happened that we like, should we shut down? Should we not continue? Why are we proving every time? Every time the client needs a pitch and use so much of body of work, and still. But then, the kick of seeing something live is just next level.
So, sir, like I'll ask a little bit something which I also want to learn. Okay, so what happens is like, so when you said like you started doing BD and STEM, and I'm sure you were going out and selling this idea to everybody, like, you know what, if you
Hmm.
pay some money and asking someone to invest is like a big task, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so how do you, in my, like right now, I'm like going through this phase, where I go out and talk to people and I say like, hey, I have this an idea. Do you think some sort of a financial collaboration we can work on?
Hmm.
And I find it very hard to do the pitch because each time I'm like, uh, either I'm trying to be very, very passionate about it, but sometimes I feel like ज्यादा passion ज्यादा डाल दिया मैंने, substance कम रह गया,
Hmm.
फिर substance ज्यादा कर लिया, then it sounds like very, and then I find it very dull यार, ये सिर्फ यही नहीं है
Hmm.
यार, there are so many things,
Yeah,
there is I'm very like when I'm selling, trying to, the idea of in this era of personal branding, I'm trying to
yeah,
sell myself out there,
yeah,
right? And somehow I'm still very hesitant in terms of having that kind of confidence and saying,
yeah, yeah.
because even though I want them to appreciate the passion and everything, but
Hmm.
that confidence is not there, right? And you were trying to do the same thing in that era where these things were unheard of, like,
Hmm.
even in the, even maybe it was in some small pockets, but not really a very common thing.
Yeah.
So how
Hmm.
did you start from there, starting selling the idea and like asking people to invest in your, like, because
Yeah.
people are not investing just only in idea, they're also investing in you also at
In
this,
people.
in
Yeah,
this end.
absolutely.
Like say Priyanka, seems like a nice person,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
can take that leap of faith.
Hmm.
So how do you build that kind of aura, maybe, if, or how do you build that kind of, how do you shape this kind of
Yeah.
uh,
It's a very
thing?
difficult question, Gul. Actually, it's multi-layered and works differently for different people. For us, what really actually worked was when we were doing BD, we dissociated ourselves and what we do, and focused more on what the client would want. And in the sense that there was always this constant hunger of bringing something new which they have not heard, or which will add value to them. So the entire pitch was not about us or what we can do for you, is about what you don't know that you want or you
Mhm.
need. I mean, you might know what you want, but you don't know what you need. It was famous Steve Jobs, this thing, right? So we focused a lot on that. And when you create value for the client, they see it as that, like, okay, this will be a cool addition to what I'm doing currently. So imagine a pitch when I'm saying that, I have done these many projects and I have done these many things, and this I'm good at this, and I get this, my team is like this. I'm talking about myself. Half midway through the presentation, people get bored, because their attention span is less. But when I'm talking about their business, like in the insurance sector, this is happening. New companies are coming with this. The AI thing says this. Now, there was a voice wave that happened, voice interactions that started. And we were like, we did experimentations in-house, left, right, and center. And when we went to pitch, we actually created demos for them, like, saying that this is what your interaction should look like. Gone are the days of when people are going click 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 in a linear journey. That excites people. So looking at it from a lens of what will excite the other person rather than what I can sell. So never be salesy, be value creator for them. In that sense is the only thing I can think of. But I think also for me and for us, what generally worked was passion. We never spoke numbers. We never spoke this thing. We like it was all about what we can do, how we can grow, where the vision is, and yeah, and the newness of the thing, that how we're like just learning every day, trying to see new things, trying to do new things, and this thing that actually helped quite a bit.
I think the takeaways, my takeaways are like if you are able to highlight the value which you can bring to the table and also mix with passion that you're serious about bringing that value. I
Yeah,
think these two things are gonna be the
yeah,
combination of it, and also how much you are interested in. Like, because a lot of times, you are half interested. You can see it like, अरे ये तो बस खाली अपना एक कोटा पूरा कर रहा है मुझे बता कर.
yeah, correct.
Correct, correct. So this is something very interesting, and I think it's a good marketing 101 also, right? And but did this come very naturally to you, or this was you had a process, like, initially you had to like figure out this was more of an hit and trial method.
So the quality of meetings which you get tell you how this thing. So if we realized very soon that when we are sending our creds deck to people, we
Mhm.
are getting meetings with the mid-level people, right? When we send them instead of a creds deck, when we send them a little pitch deck saying that this is what we can do for you, we get the attention of the senior leadership, and that changes the conversation. So if you have the attention in the ears, so we realize that this is they're looking for that. You'll have a CMO come in the meeting, you'll have a CTO come in the meeting and talk about it. And sometimes in smaller organizations, the CEO themselves are involved in listening to what you have. It might not go anywhere, but at least you leave an impression that you have substance, you have the kind of thing which they might find value in. So I think it's we realized it um, over a process itself. It was not
Mhm.
like overnight we thought we have to do something like this, but also we had a very good body of work. Created an impression, but the we layered it up with a little top up to say that,
Value,
hmm,
what you're bringing to the table, passion, and also
yeah,
that you need to have some sort of a body of work to show,
body of work.
right?
Correct.
And I think
Absolutely.
these three things are like, the foundation for at least, before we start pitching out
Yeah.
to people, right?
There was another thing because it was a service business and it
Mm.
might be different for different people. We actually kind of excited them with a half a day workshop. We said we are not coming for a meeting. We are doing a half a day workshop, and we will create by the end of the workshop. You will get these ABCD things. Like in
Mhm.
the sense, you might get like a roadmap of the activities which you need to do. So that a little bit of design thinking or innovation workshop is something we said that we are not coming for a meeting. We'll do a half a day workshop with you. That gets in a lot more people. You say design thinking, and people are in that kind of a zone. So trying to see what will excite and
Mhm.
give you value.
Okay. And one of the things which I'm like wanted to ask you also is that you being as a woman, because you are in a field where UX and all these things, corporate at the time, I think it was mostly, and still there is a lot of conversation because in the corporate management you see a lot of, it's mostly men dominated, right? And you are here, and you're not talking not only just about, you're talking about UX, you're talking about a little bit of science algorithms and everything, how it goes. So, what was the experience? Did you like, what was the initial reaction? Did you see face? No, I'm not saying you might have faced some sort of like, did you see that, people would take you a little lightly, मतलब अरे इसको क्या पता types?
So that's a excellent question actually, because and this is something which I want to talk about as well, in the sense that Fractal was a 70% women organization. So like we had, and it was not that we chose to women, but it was just that they were good at the job or the interviews when it came in. So there would be times when I'm walking in with a brigade of women in a meeting room full of 25, 30 men. And it's like you're four women trying to run a workshop in this kind of a thing. And there have been instances, and I'll not name the company, there had been instances where we had the full UX session where we're trying to explain the different concepts, and we have a brilliant conversation around it, and everybody is highly involved. Then you move to UI, which is more design. And so when you start explaining the design, the men in the room would say that ये तो तुम लड़की लोग देख लो. And So it's that time, how do you, with your team, that kind of a remark does not make sense. So in that meeting, I had to stand there and say that ये तो हम कर ही लेंगे, पहले वाला भी हमने ही किया था. In the sense that, with the logic and the design, we can do both. You have only one thing. So don't talk to my team like that.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
it's like shrugging off the
Yeah.
entire thing, like, acha, theek hai,
Stereotyping. Huh.
stereotyping a lot. And this
Yeah.
was then, and still I see, like, I'll give you one example, during hiring, what happens is, like, a woman candidate, when she's asked, are you planning to get married?
Hmm. Yeah.
You plan to have babies? And these kind of questions, and it has happened someone in, like, it has happened in my family, and I was like shocked, like, people still ask these stupid questions, why do you want to know?
Hmm.
And even if, how does it even matter, right? There are so many things, and this so much of bias, like,
Yeah.
and but over the period of time, I see a lot of things correcting. There are so many talking about culture. There is so much of talking about all these things, inclusivity, diversity, and everything. But still, I feel like, there is less representation. That is my understanding. And also, there is this habit of, shrugging off
Yeah.
whatever they do. अरे, you know what? सही
Hmm.
रास्ते से नहीं पहुंचे होंगे वहां तक,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
No,
Absolute.
that
Hmm.
is also there, right? So, what is one of the few common set of problems which you have seen in the industry? You have been in the startup space. You have so many friends in startups. You have, what is the common set of pain points you have seen? Like, what are the biases which you see? What are the obstacles you see?
Yeah. So I'll start from my own
Yeah.
journey. So Fractal was me and my husband's together in the business, and as I told you, my husband was I don't think I told you, but my husband was a year junior at college. He was studying when I started my first business, so have been a risk taker all my life. But people who know me or have interacted with me in the business scenarios know the value. But when it comes to social scenarios where people don't know how I operate or what, the immediate thing is, so you help him in his business, you help him in his business, saying that I would be doing some chotu motu things here and there whenever I get the time, and then manage the house and this thing. So the underlying implications are like that, and that deeply hurts. Like, you know, why people make assumptions like this. They're not at fault because that's how the society has been there. But how do you change this bias? And so speaking up at those points, talking about, like, my husband always course corrected if whoever said something like this, in the sense that, but sometimes over course corrected, which is also not good. Like, why are you putting yourself down to make me go up? Because we are equal. We started as equals and we have equal contribution in the company. So why? So this was a personal thing which I faced. But looking at in general, when I interact with women entrepreneurs, one common thing that comes out is the faith in the family. The family has in you. So I one of my favorite things is the concept that there is no glass ceiling. And I've talked about this earlier. Glass ceiling nahi hai, there is always a sticky floor. They can't get off that sticky floor. Once they get off that sticky floor, they're there. Then there is no glass ceiling. But there are so many things that bind them, saying ये तुमसे नहीं होगा, तुम्हारे पास टाइम नहीं है, तुम्हें ये कैसे करोगे, मैनेज कैसे करोगे. There are just so many different conversations that are fed into their minds that they don't know how to take off, how to bring themselves to say that, as I will do it. And they're always trying to do balancing. Whereas, and this fear of failure, always, like, if a man fails, is completely fine. But if a woman fails, there is a lot of stigma attached to it. कि अरे हमें तो पता ही था, kind of a thing. So there's always this thing of, how do they take off?
That is true. And because that is why we see, like, it's kind of, and I know for sure, like, in my family, it was mom who was making, and she was a working employee, and you can imagine, like, the place I come from, it's a very conservative society, and a woman going office, during 80s, it was slightly even think go
Wow.
back, and she was braving it, and she was very brave around it, about it, and I think a lot of things we could रीच है in terms of अच्छी पढ़ाई होना या फिर पढ़ाई को लेके इतना
Feel.
इन्वेस्टमेंट होना which is हमारे वो सब लाइक मॉम ने बहुत
Yeah.
ये सब चीजें डिसाइड करी हमारे लिए एंड आई कीप थिंकिंग कि हाउ मच ऑफ स्टिग्मा आई वाज देयर कि एक तो मम्मी ऑफिस जाती है
Yeah.
पापा को बहुत सारी चीजें उस समय सुननी पड़ती थी, बट ही वाज आल्सो लाइक सपोर्टिव एट दैट टाइम. एंड एंड आई थिंक स्टिल आज के डेट में भी कभी ना कभी इक्का दुक्का कहीं ना कहीं सुनने को मिल जाता है. आपका एक बात
Yes.
है ना कि जैसे एक एक चीज आपने बोला कि व्हेन मैन फेल्स, वहां पे भी एक चीज है.
Mm.
Like men are also like
Mm.
there is why to have a stigma around anything, to be very honest, because if, there is so much of pressure for a man to succeed in his
Yes.
life. शादी नहीं
True.
होगी तुम्हारी,
हाँ, correct. Correct.
लड़की नहीं मिलेगी. एंड आई वाज स्पीकिंग टू वन ऑफ माय ब्रदर. ही सेड लाइक जा तुम अरेंज मैरिज करके करने की कोशिश करो एक बार,
अच्छा.
है ना, एंड देन यू विल रियलाइज कि क्या हो चल क्या रहा है.
Correct. Correct.
बिकॉज पीपल द एक्सपेक्टेशंस आर कि वो भाई 50 लाख रुपए कमाए साल का, या साठ
हाँ,
लाख कमाए, ये घर होना चाहिए, फैमिली के साथ,
I
मम्मी
agree.
पापा के साथ नहीं रहना चाहिए, एंड सो ऑन एंड सो ऑन. राइट. तो ऐसा नहीं है, दोनों जेंडर्स में
I
है
agree.
कुछ ना कुछ है. एंड दिस इज द एंटायर थिंग कि व्हाई टू हैव इवन एनी स्टिग्मा अराउंड एनी जेंडर, राइट.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
one thing is for sure, like in terms of women who have faced it, like I see that women who have been much more at the receiving end. Um,
Yeah.
and that is one, I think, a kind of a reality right
Yeah.
now. And I think it's good that a lot of people like you are like, breaking that kind of stereotype. And a lot of women before also, like, they have set up examples, like, we have a women president in this country, right? And I
Yeah.
think that is something to look up to. And before I move on to the another thing, which when we speak about women entrepreneurship, okay, and one of the things which I kind of find it is okay, but I want your thoughts. यार वे अचार के बिजनेस कर रही हैं, वो पापड़ के बिजनेस कर रही हैं, ठीक है, मतलब, बट आई वांट, आई रियली विश, लाइक, जैसे the people say कि इसरो में there are so many women scientists, and I want, I really wish, women are also part of other aspects of in the industry, right? Not just, as you
Yeah.
said, like, design तो लड़कियां देख लेंगी, right?
Mm.
And so what is your thought like on this?
Yeah, no, so that's a very valid question. And even in LXMI, where I do, we have a lot of women entrepreneurs, a collective of women entrepreneurs. See that, most of the time women enter into a business which arises out of a need, in the sense that they have suffered through something, they have gone through something, or it's a necessity that they come and do something to earn a living, and they know they do the next best thing which they know. So, which is fine, which is a more of a tier two, tier three kind of a phenomena, wherein people will do a papad ka business and this way. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the business. It's a great that they can be independent. But when we look at the tier one cities, like especially with urban women coming together, they're doing businesses in AI. They're doing businesses in design, in calligraphy, in marketing, advertising, and tech-led businesses. The do good part of it comes. So a large majority of women are coming from like one of the businesses that they have, she has an autistic kid, so she's making something which makes the autistic kids employable, and then does workshops for corporates to be able to how to deal with the kids, making a dating app so that they can actually interact with each other. So that is one. The other one is more to do with sustainability. One of the businesses which I'm advising is they are working a lot on Elephanta and making the whole experience of tourism to Elephanta great, and take all the waste out of the sea, which is just surrounding. It's really bad, in a bad shape. How do we get to that? So it's the do good part of this thing, because I think the empathy side, which we physiologically cannot define, comes very strongly, and they tend to get diverted towards those businesses as well. Having said that, there are enough and more women who are trying to do more tech-led businesses. The thing is that the ratio of women opting for STEM courses is also less, so that proportionately that happens. It changes, right? Like,
But in a way, it's like it's a good progress, if I taking your account, and say especially for the disability
hmm,
startup which you were mentioning, and also sustainability. And these are the small, and it shows also, like, the ideas can come from any gender.
yeah,
Like, it's
yeah,
not like बस सिर्फ
yeah,
यही सोच सकता है and everything, and kind of makes sense also, like that. I think as higher education access reaches in the smaller towns. And I think the women also will be much more aspirant.
Hmm.
They will have much more aspirations beyond the basic um things, and like as you said, like there is absolutely nothing wrong in doing
Yeah.
achar ka business or papad ka
Right.
business. इफ यू रिमेम्बर पहले के जमाने में क्या होता था कि जैसे लड़कियों को स्टिचिंग सिखा देते थे, कुकिंग सीखना होता था, बिकॉज वन ऑफ द थॉट्स विच आई वाज टोल्ड वाज कि in case the husband does not exist, okay, if he passes away, the
Hmm.
woman should be able to
Yeah.
have some sort of in
Income source.
skill
Talent. Hmm.
skills है ना कि and maybe it might पढ़ाई may not be the first thing
Hmm.
option, but अगर वो कुकिंग जानती है then she can do something with cooking, और knitting कर सकती है तो stitching, अपना छोटा बुटीक खोल लिया या कुछ भी कर लिया. So these are the kind of skills they used to teach. That was the thought, but then it became like यार नहीं ये तुम्हारा काम ही है is
Right.
another thing, but one of the thoughts. And so, there are so many initiatives going on in this country, ki women entrepreneurship ke liye. And
Yeah.
one of the initiatives is yours also, which Lakshmi, which we
Alex.
spoke about, and I found it very fascinating. The idea is very, very interesting. It will be great if you just, give us a walkthrough कि लक्ष्मी साहब क्या प्लान कर रहे हो, क्या क्या
Yeah.
कहाँ
So
पर
it's
है,
a
अभी वो स्टेज पर है अभी इस समय.
So it's a we're calling it LXMI. It's a spin-off on Lakshmi, of course, but the name is LXMI. So the name is LXMI, and right now it's a collective of women entrepreneurs. But the only filter which we have right now is for women who mean business. So it's not like you said. It's not businesses which are just existing for the sake of it in the sense, but people are putting in a lot of passion, a lot of hard work in terms of making it work. So it's for serious women entrepreneurs, and getting them all the help which they need to scale their business, whether it is marketing, whether it is digital, whether it is design, whether it is financial help, whether. So when I say financial help, we don't have collaborations with the venture capitalists yet, but how do you make financial models? How do you make a pitch deck? How do you talk to investors? From your industry, how do we? So we do boot camps, we do workshops, we do events where people can collaborate with one another and see how they can learn off each other. So one of the things which we have realized that we don't have everything, but whatever we can in the network which we have from working for more than 25 years, the network which Sarita is my co-founder at LXMI, if the way if we can expand that to the women entrepreneurs and get them to even 2 or 3 entrepreneurs, if they take off, it's a good enough impact which we have created. So it's completely pro bono for now, and just helping them in whatever they need on from a personal level, from a network, and just helping them succeed.
Did you like all the people who are coming on this platform, women? What kind of ideas they have come up? Like, if you can share.
So there's a grazing table business. So they do grazing tables at large parties. They did at Ambani's Mehendi. They did a grazing table for them. So they've really scaled. So they were at
वो
a point
होता
they've
क्या है?
already scaled. Huh?
वो टेबल क्या होता है?
The grazing tables are like when you have a buffet of starters, and they're like really
हाँ.
beautifully presented in terms of small shots and like fusion food and
अच्छा
cheese
अच्छा.
and everything. So this like full table with starters, and people,
अच्छा.
so they're called grazing tables in that
ओह
sense.
अच्छा.
So and really wonderful food. So they were at a point that they had actually scaled, but they were feeling stuck, that now what next? How do we multiply this? How do we have reached this level now? How do we unlock this level and go to the next level? So that was the stage they were at. There's a so there's a company who wanted there was the person who wanted to start a financial app for women, saying that how do women get independence even if they start investing small, how do they get independence? She was trying to create that kind of a community for women to become financially independent. There was that. There was a wellness retreat person who was they had a big land and a big wellness center in near Ahmedabad, and they were at a point where the doctors over there were trying to arm twist them into doing different things, and she was like, I just feel like shutting it down, but it's just so much passion in that business. What do I do? She was a nutritionist herself. So, we kind of tried to figure out what are the best mechanisms and how is it that you can do the power shift. And they're very soft and subtle things of either it is bookkeeping, management, small operational efficiencies which you can bring to the table, how you pitch to different people. It's all of this thing put together for them. We did like a 2-day boot camp with different entrepreneurs
Do
there.
you see that you एक point पे ये expand करके maybe you can onboard like people from say smaller towns have a larger impact?
Yeah, I wish and I hope that we can.
Mhm.
But there's no way of knowing yet because
Mhm.
this is actually we're doing it. So it started as a conference, but now it has become big enough for us. But
Mhm.
how do we expand? How do we get more people together to work towards it? Uh, and then reach out to tier 2, tier 3 cities is something which we will think. But I mean, right now it's not restricted. Anybody and everybody is welcome. But there is a kind of a screening process wherein, you know, it's not just I have an idea and hence I go here. It is more to do with how we get a good collective to work together towards a common aim of tipping that point of women entrepreneurship in people's mind. It's still,
पर
hmm,
आपको लगता है कि एक पॉइंट पे एकदम बिल्कुल आपका एक पोर्टफोलियो जैसा क्रिएट भी हो सकता है इफ यू हैव लाइक अ buffet of different women startups, right? And maybe at some point they will start working together for XYZ things. And as you see, एक typical VC invested portfolio में होता है कि 40-30 कंपनियों में इन्वेस्ट कर रखा था, but they are also
hmm.
interlinked and they are trying to help out each other and sharing maybe logistics or maybe infrastructure.
So we are still exploring. We are kind of looking for angel funds and tie-ups where we can actually provide funding to them as well. Right now, I think it is more important for us that they learn from each other and they do
Mm.
more of twined activities, so to say. But we don't know exactly what direction it will take right now. But the vision is that it becomes like the place for women entrepreneurs to come together, have discussions, get concrete help in whichever way that they want. And we have a lot of good mentors on the platform who can help, and everybody is just doing it they're doing it pro bono in terms of their time, the investment which they are doing in terms of their time. And we feel that if we are able to become that one-stop solution for women entrepreneurs, it'll be great. And one of the things in one of my initiatives in that is that I want to start, and it is a future vision, I want to start a co-working space for women, which will be absolutely free if you qualify to come into in that entrepreneurship bracket, which we are talking about. You come there, you work, you'll get mentorship. There'll be people coming in and coming out, workshops happening and things, but absolutely free. Come work for the full day. So small facilitations like that sort is something which we are kind of working towards.
Mm. I think it's a great idea, and I'll ask about the co-working space as well. See, if you like, look at the advent of tech, the way tech is involved in our lifestyle, and it's impacting everyone, like all age groups, even छोटे बच्चे से लेके senior citizens. कहीं पे भी इंडिया में everybody is connected right now, right? And there is so much of not just connectivity, the different kind of implementation of tech that is happening, which we see sometimes we don't see. For
Mm.
instance, 5G connectivity is now like everybody has
Yeah.
the access is like now wide. How do you see technology playing a big role in creating new set of women founders in the future or in present?
Yeah. So one of the things which, if you've noticed, like there is a lot of content creator, like Instagram has um, created so many content creators in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, and they are earning, like they're seriously earning this thing, and they're just putting content out there they have a smartphone, they're just creating content. That also is entrepreneurship, according to me. If you know that what is audience liking and you create that kind of a content, even if it is trashing their husband or doing their, talking about um, the society, how society treats women and things like, there's a lot of that kind of content out there. And I feel that in itself is a lot of enablement and freedom of expression that has come in, which people were not able to do earlier. So I think this is the best time for women to take charge. I'm saying not take charge from men, but take charge of their own life in the sense.
So,
Yeah. Hmm.
one of the things which, like now that the tech is there, now we see the advent of AI, right? और आज के डेट में कोई भी टेक का कॉन्वर्सेशन बिना एआई के कंप्लीट तो हो नहीं रहा है.
Hmm.
So I really want to understand, like, how do you see, and I'm sure as a someone who has worked on so much of design, you have so much of experience, right? And AI is almost everywhere, right? I recently messaged a founder, he worked in fintech. And then I saw that his company's name has changed to something XYZ.ai. मैंने बोला भाई आपने AI में कब pivot की?
Hmm.
So in the context of women entrepreneurship, or maybe inclusivity, how do you see AI playing a big role?
I would so I'll say that it's not only AI as such, but it is in general the hold over what you can do more with your time. In the sense that uh, I see AI as more of an operational efficiency, whether it is organizations, whether it is your personal life, whether it is your personal solopreneurship. You can get a lot more free time. जो आप पहले 10 घंटे में करते हो, वो आप अब 1 घंटे में कर सकते हो. Or even lesser than that. Like I remember doing research when we had to do for UX research. We used to take like multiple documents, read through them, get through this thing, take out insights, create a document. It was a tedious project. We used to UX research used to take at least a week and a half to get the right insights. That is half an hour job now. You get this thing, and you obviously you layer it up with your own intelligence. You do read, you do this thing. You just don't rely on what is there. But there is a lot of efficiencies that have come in now, and they're so easy to use, and they're so the resistance to use it is very low, and people are learning really fast. So I think this is the best time when people need to start using AI as an assistant and just go for whatever they have the idea. So they need to go big on ideas, they need to go big on creativity. Rest everything AI can handle. So use AI to the fullest in terms of how you make your time free to do more creative stuff.
मुझे लगता है कि अगर एआई थोड़ा सा उसमें अगर ऐसे इफ इट अवेलेबल इन वर्नाकुलर और अपना बड़ा इंटरैक्टिव वर्नाकुलर लैंग्वेजेस में, हिंदी में हो चाहे अवधी हो चाहे कोई भी भाषा, थोड़ा सा उसके अंदर वॉइस का इनपुट हो, देन उसका यूसेज विल बी सो सो
Yeah,
हाई,
yeah. Hmm.
मुझे वो लगता है. लेकिन अभी मुझे लगता है कि जो एग्जिस्टिंग एआईज हैं अभी वो इंडिया के कॉन्टेक्स्ट को इतना अच्छे से समझते नहीं है. they we उनको but it's a good tool, to be very honest. Like everybody was using it. I use it almost on a daily basis.
Hmm.
So I'm sure some point it will reach, like have a wider impact the moment it becomes much more interactive and starts to understand us better. Then maybe we can see some true impact.
Yeah. So we have at Punt we have this thing called Fables, wherein we create video content using multiple AI tools, and
Mhm.
it's like to lower the production costs and all the shoot costs which used to happen to a certain extent, bring the this thing down, the cost of that entire production thing, and do multiple things in that in the same budget. And to your point, I think even if you want to use the voiceovers and things in the vernacular language, they're also there. It might not be that polished or evolved, but everything is there, and people are constantly working on improving
Mhm.
it as we say. And then like every day there is something new coming up with you. Like, okay, now what you have to learn about this as well. So my this thing is that the tools have already evolved quite a bit as well. The users need to fast pace themselves in terms of learning faster and using it faster as well, and not get lost in the sea of what is happening. Just focus on what they need and how they can utilize it better. So just those. And there are a lot of tools, like there is an AI for that, if you know that site, wherein everything which you need, you just type it and it'll tell you, okay, these are the different tools you can use for AI. So
Mhm.
there's a collective of the different AI tools. So um, my this thing is that there was a, I don't know if you see stand-up comedy, there was a comedian who said कि यार now the women want equal rights and everything. जब हम हंटिंग करने जाते थे तब तो ये बड़े आराम से घर पे बैठते थे, अभी उनको इक्वल राइट्स चाहिए, इक्वल पे चाहिए, बिकॉज अब तो सिर्फ कंप्यूटर पे हाथ चलाना है. सो आई एम सेइंग यस, दैट्स द रियलिटी ऑफ द सिचुएशन, दैट नाउ you have the power in your hand. You can do so many different things to be able to be financially independent, and it's extremely important to be financially independent. So
I think that is like a great thought, that everybody should be at some point look at and leverage all the
yeah,
tools that are available, just make
yeah,
most of it.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, बहुत सारी चीजें अब तो फ्री में भी मिल रही हैं. It's just that टेक इज एग्जिस्टिंग एंड इट हैज टू रीच द राइट पीपल.
It's
वो
the
सही
right.
लोगों के पास पहुंचे बस. बस
Yes.
वही थोड़ा सा एक एक प्रोसेस है जो हमारे साथ है.
Yeah. Mm.
मैं ये चीज जानना चाहता हूँ कि जैसे आपने वैसे पहले आप डेली बेसिस पे कितना एआई यूज करते हैं? व्हाट आर योर यूज केसेस फॉर एआई? हाउ डू यू?
So I have a lot actually. But these are mostly like, say, I switch between Perplexity, Claude, and ChatGPT. I use a lot of FreePic for image generations. I use AI tools for a lot of wireframing. I use AI tools for design and animation. And I use a lot of, between Claude and Perplexity, I do my lot of research goes in that. I have like my persona created, and I chat with it like I'm chatting to myself with myself, and I have a love-hate relationship with AI in that sense because I keep abusing it as in a way. But yeah, so to answer your question, from creating presentations to creating content to doing my research to getting value resources to use. I think what I earlier used to do in a week, I can get done in a day. So my productivity has definitely increased because of.
Have you started playing with like some agentic AI? Have you tried to set it up for yourselves? Like
So
give a command
not,
and it will do
huh.
something.
So for agentic AI, I'm not set it up for myself, but for a large tech company, we have created their own internal multi-agentic tools for them to be able to increase operational efficiencies for their clients.
Correct.
So we have designed and developed those agentic AI tools for them. But for personally, I have not.
It's okay. Uh, so you were mentioning about your co-working space, and I find it that very fascinating, a women-only
Hmm.
co-working space. And so, what is this vision? If you can tell, if you have to create an image of it, like what would it look like? वहाँ पे होता क्या है और वहाँ पे क्या facilities होंगी? How will it be different from our typical, say, we work or office या दफ्तर, whatever there are?
So one of the things is that what I'm the way I imagine it is, so it's a part of a larger setup, which is called Yuchi Life. It's like your inner chi. So finding so it's an experimental studio of sorts, to say. So anybody who wants to come experiment and do stuff is welcome. So it has multiple spaces, but the biggest space would be for women entrepreneurs. So the revenue model will be from other spaces which are rented, but the that revenue would go to sustain this co-working space. Now, in that co-working space, there will be so we will have regular. So we'll have pitch sessions which everybody can listen to each other's pitch and add to it. There will be mentors who will keep coming and going in. There will be workshops which we will do periodically for each entrepreneur if they need. It's not like we're in their faces and we're, if they want to just work quietly and go, it's completely fine. But if they need help, there will be they can actually reach out, and there will be a network which will be there. There'll be a common wall where they can paste ideas, they can get feedback. So things very interactive kind of a where whenever you get stuck, there is somebody to help you. That's the kind of space which we want to create, and create it like a for a lack of a better word, a family of people trying to work together and make it together in this world, and help and create that sisterhood of
So
entrepreneurship.
I think it's like a natural extension what you're doing with Lakshmi project, right? Say if
Hmm.
you have like people who are working say 20 odd entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs. They could come on and off to the studio. They can experiment
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also get a lot of people. And then it's just more
Yes.
of a chain impact, network
Yes.
impact, which we see.
Yes. Absolutely.
So
Mm.
that's it's absolutely amazing. And do you plan it to open at Mumbai first, or like do you
So
want to?
the idea is to start in Mumbai. I'm looking at the coming year, like say August, September, looking for a shed-like space. If you have any partner, then most space partners is what I'm looking for. Doing up the space in a very fun and yet serious model, wherein it's very convenient for them to come. One of the things which I actually forgot I should mention in the earlier part of the conversation was, you know, if you look at the data, there are a lot of companies who have male and female co-founders together. It's a significant number. But in those companies also, if they're co-founders as well, there are very few women CEOs in those companies. CEOs are normally men. So the leadership is still with the men.
Correct.
One of the things which I want to change in that is that if you might have a male co-founder as well, and they're also welcome because you want to work together and don't want to get anybody out of the system, is that if you are a female entrepreneur, you have a male co-founder, you need to be in the position where it is powerful. It might be biased, it might be this thing, but the male counterpart will have to pay and come. And it's a way of, it's not to penalize men in any way. It is to say that, there is a long winded backward baggage which we are carrying. How do we make that shift? That shift is very important, and that's why I feel that it's important that we curate the list of entrepreneurs. We are very true to what we want to bring, the change which we want to bring about. We want to have that mindset.
I think soon we will see a lot more two women co-founders together
Yeah.
working, or
Yeah.
founders and co-founder like
Hmm.
at the top. Like, and I think quite a few small startups I know they're led by two women. And which is amazing, and I can understand that. So,
Hmm.
what would be like long-term vision like you have with say Lakshmi, you have a co-working space which is yet to be named, I think.
Hmm. Hmm.
So what is the long-term vision for yourself as well as if you want to, and how do you want to contribute to this space?
Yeah. But see, my long-term vision is to be a facilitator in this space where even if a few women entrepreneurs businesses take off, I think my job is done. That would be a very satisfying journey, because I have had amazing mentors in my life. And if there is something which I can do for others, it will be a great personal
Hmm.
this thing for me. In terms of where I want to be in this, the overall vision is that, this distinction of male founder, female founder goes away. It shouldn't be a female founder. It shouldn't be a male founder. It should be business entrepreneurs. That's it.
Hmm.
When they talk about, like, I've been in this, we have a female leader, I have a leader. I mean, like, why do you have to attach that label of female? So my long-term vision is that once we get to a quantum, once we get to a level where it does not matter, is when we would have achieved uh, the right balance between for entrepreneurship, when it is an equal play field for everyone, where if I have to shut down that co-working space for women and open it up for everyone because it doesn't matter, and women are come and tell me that, why, yeah, then it is a win. That's the vision that we need to reach at that point, where
But I
leadership
think
is just leadership, entrepreneurship is just entrepreneurship. There's no male female division in it.
I think that's a great vision to have, and I kind of second it as well
Hmm.
because ये मैटर ही नहीं करना चाहिए.
नहीं करना
है
चाहिए.
ना? कौन बोलता है कि हमारे मेल प्राइम मिनिस्टर, मेल
Yeah.
वाइस
Female prime minister,
प्रेसिडेंट.
female president बोलते हैं.
Yeah, we try to point it out because I think still, because there is a gap and we try to highlight it. Dekho, this is
Yeah.
one example we are trying to set because
Hmm.
there's clearly some sort of a gap in the industry, right?
Yeah. There's
Priyanka, now
one
that you
interesting,
have,
sorry,
sorry.
there is one interesting
Uh-huh.
point on that. If you notice all the Shark Tanks, Like
Mm-hmm.
Bahar ke bhi and yahan ke bhi, there's a pattern if you notice, and the pattern is the kind of questions which they get asked. So
Mm-hmm.
if you see if there is a male entrepreneur, and there's a data behind this as well, they will ask them futuristic questions. What is your vision? How do you see the company going? What are the future numbers, projections, and everything? The women entrepreneurs on the same, on the other hand, they get asked questions like, "What was your past? How what?" So they're more trying to prove their credibility of why they are in the room. So they don't get asked the futuristic questions; they
Mm-hmm.
get asked the validation questions.
And also, it's not necessary to have like a sob story, all the time. मतलब जरूरी नहीं है
Yeah,
कि कुछ
yeah.
बहुत समाज ने मुझे बहुत सताया था इसलिए
इसलिए मैंने कहा, हाँ, करेक्ट,
मैं
एक
एंटरप्रेन्योर बनना चाहता
आइडिया।
था या चाहती थी, डजंट मैटर, राइट? एंड ये एक थोड़ा सा हमारे साथ प्रॉब्लम है। आई थिंक यू आर करेक्ट, आई नोटिस्ड इट, लाइक दे आर लाइक वेरी डिफरेंट अप्रोच टू इट. And I don't understand it. Is it for TV? Maybe I don't know. It's for something, or maybe it's just even
No, it's
maybe
internal
it's a
biases,
very
deep-rooted
guilty
internal bias.
conscious. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what it
Deep-rooted
is.
internal biases is what it
No,
is.
it's more like that. Maybe I might. I'm not sure. Like it's a good thing to self-reflect also. Maybe I might also be doing it or saying it not knowingly, right? And it's a good thing. It's a great note to self.
Hmm.
So Priyanka, अब तो इतना experience हो गया. आपने कब से शुरू किया? You saw
Hmm.
so many. I think at least 2 decades. I can say easily,
Yeah,
right?
easily. Hmm.
Around say. So there are so many new young Priyankas in this
Hmm.
country now, and if you have to give one advice or a set of advices to all these young kids or young people who are wanting to build something of their own, and maybe the situations are maybe in favor, family supportive, or maybe. So, what would be a common set of advice you would want to give them?
So the first and the foremost, I feel that we should stop thinking that somebody will come and do it for us, or people around us are not giving it to us. There's nothing which anybody can give you. You have to get up, make the effort, take your hand out and grab the opportunity which you get. Don't pass on the mic when you don't have to pass on the mic. So the thing is that you need to take control and go at it with a single vision that, this, there's no other thing which I have to do. This is what I want from life, and grab it. कोई नहीं देने वाला है प्लेटर पे कि अरे you're a woman, please take this now, we have DEI, we have this is now take. Nobody. So the one advice is that just you have to do the hard work, you have to walk the path of getting it. And second is that there are no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. Even if you're doing the smallest possible thing, you have to do it with the full enthusiasm and the courage, and try to find your unique voice. Don't imitate anybody, don't do anything. Your unique voice is what is going to sell. You trying to imitate somebody is not going to sell. So those are the two main things. And the third and the very important thing, and this is where most of the women, and including me at a certain point, used to say, "Arey, mujhe finances nahi samajhta hai." There are only 4 or 5 numbers you need to know. Master the art of knowing those 4 or 5 numbers very strongly. मुझे मैथ्स नहीं आता, मुझे finances नहीं समझते, मेरे husband देखते हैं, मैं father देखते हैं. No, it's time for you to get up and understand it is not rocket science. It's 4 or 5 numbers. Nobody's asking you to do calculus and integration over here. It's just simple profit loss investment and things. So it's not that complicated. Take that step of learning the finances and taking control of your own finances. Those are the three things I would actually want people to think about.
All right. I think these are great set of advices, and I think it kind of applies to
Yes.
I think
And
every young person, and even people who are like trying to build. And thank you so much. मुझे बहुत मजा आया. मुझे लगा कि I think इतने सारे conversations मैंने किए हैं. This is one of my most like where I'm also very personally invested. And
thank
I really wish to see you grow, and also the people, your project to work out, and your vision of having a co-working space. Maybe it soon has a new name, has a
you. Yeah.
name at least, to begin
Mhm.
with. And I wish you the best. And today I got to learn also, from a different perspective. And I think a lot of people who are watching it and hearing it will also, I think, agree to a lot of conversations, the points we discussed. Thank you so much for being here.
Mm. No, thank you so much for having me because these are the kind of conversations which we need to have more and more in the society just to smash these biases itself. And I really had a fun time just being very candid about the conversations.
Yes, and
Yeah.
thank you so much, and I wish you the best.
Thank you so much. And to you too.